Yeah. So this week we're talking about sequence of events. Reading goal. I can identify the sequence of events in pictures and text. I can identify and use the signal language for sequence of events. So we're going to start with a story, and this book is by one of my all-time favorite authors, Chris Van Allsburg. Does anyone know another book that he read or that he wrote? You know, Cody?
We read that before.
Well, we're going to read it again.
Chinese mythology. Chinese mythology.
No, it's a Christmas movie. And book.
Oliver Stone.
Okay. It's got a train in it.
Polar Express.
Oh, the Polar Express. Chris Van Allsburg also wrote the Polar Express.
What? That was a good book. I read that.
And he also wrote Jumanji.
I watched the movie.
The new Jumanji is different from the original Jumanji, so.
I like the new one. I like the new one.
All right, you ready? Once while traveling along the seashore, I stopped at a small fishing village. After eating lunch, I decided to take a walk. I followed a path out of the village, uphill to some cliffs high above the sea. At the edge of these cliffs was the most unusual sight, the wreck of a small sailboat. An old man was sitting among the broken timbers, smoking a pipe. He seemed to be reading my mind when he said, "Odd, isn't it?" "Yes," I answered. "How did it get here?" "Waves carried it up during a storm." "Really?" I said. "It doesn't seem the waves could ever get that high." The old man smiled. "Well, there's another story." He invited me to have a seat and listen to his strange tale. "In our village long ago," he said, "there was a boy who could sail a boat better than any man in the harbor. He could find a breeze over the flattest sea. When the dark clouds kept other boats at anchor, the boy would sail out, ready to prove to the villagers, to the sea itself, how great a sailor he was." One morning, under the ominous sky, he prepared to take his boat, the Zephyr, out to sea. A fisherman warned the boy to stay in port. Already a strong wind was blowing. "I'm not afraid," the boy said, "because I'm the greatest sailor there is." The fisherman pointed to the seagull gliding overhead. "There's only one sailor who can go out on a day like this." The boy just laughed as he hoisted his sails into a blustery wind. What does it mean to hoist sails? Serenity?
To get the sails ready, so before you go on the water, that way you could sail better.
Yeah, so basically put them up so that you can sail.
Mostly on storm.
Yeah. The wind whistled in the rigging as the Zephyr pounded her way through the water. The sky grew black, and the waves rose up like mountains. The boy struggled to keep his boat from going over. Suddenly, a gust of wind caught the sail. The boom swung around and hit the boy's head. He fell to the cockpit floor and did not move. When the boy opened his eyes, he found himself lying on a beach. The Zephyr rested behind him, carried there by the storm. The boat was far from the water's edge. The tide would not carry it back to sea. The boy set out to look for help. He walked for a long time and was surprised that he didn't recognize the shoreline. He climbed a hill, expecting to see something familiar, but what he saw instead was a strange and unbelievable sight. Before him were two boats sailing high above the water. Astonished. What's astonished? What's astonished? Justin?
Flying?
Not flying. Cody?
Sailing boats in the sky.
They've heard the story already.
Not that.
They're
Astonished.
telling you what's going to happen in the future.
What?
He feels either excited or a feel of how is this happening.
Yeah, kind of like shocked, right? Good.
Amazed.
Yeah, shocked, amazed. There we go. He watched them glide by. Then a third sailed past, towering the Zephyr. The boats entered a bay that was bordered by a large village. There left the Zephyr. The boy made his way down to the harbor, to the dock where his boat was tied. He met a sailor who smiled when he saw the boy. Pointing to the Zephyr, he said, "Yours?" The boy nodded. The sailor said they almost never saw strangers on their island. but was surrounded by a treacherous reef. What's treacherous? Serenity.
Treacherous means a word. Treacherous means where it is not his or where he doesn't know where he's at.
No, that's not it. Cody?
Is they gonna give him a new sail?
No, Raymond? Treacherous reef. No one came because it was a treacherous reef. Raymond?
Terrible.
Terrible, kind of. You're getting close. Daniel?
Dangerous.
Dangerous. Good.
That's what I said dangerous.
The Zephyr must have been carried over the reef by the storm. He told the boy that later they would take him and the Zephyr back over the reef. But the boy said he would not leave until he learned to sail above the waves. The sailor told him it took years to learn to sail like that. Besides, he said, the Zephyr does not have the right sails. The boy insisted. He pleaded with the sailor. Finally, the sailor said he would try to teach him if the boy promised to leave the next morning. The boy agreed. The sailor went to a shed and got a new set of sails. All afternoon, they sailed back and forth across the bay. Sometimes the sailor took the tiller, and the boat would magically begin to lift out of the water. But when the boy tried, he could not catch the wind that made the boat fly. When the sun went down, they went back to the harbor. They dropped anchor, and a fisherman rowed them to shore. In the morning, the sailor said, "We'll put your sails back on the Zephyr and send you home." He took the boy to his house, and the sailor's wife fed them oyster stew. After dinner, the sailor played the concertina. He sang a song about a man named Samuel Blue who long ago tried to sail his boat over land and crashed. For the wind or the land, near steady nor true, and all men that sail they'll meet Samuel Blue. When he was done with his song, the sailor sent the boy to bed. But the boy could not sleep. He knew he could fly his boat if he had another chance. He waited until the sailor and his wife were asleep. Then he quietly dressed and went to the harbor. As he rowed out to the Zephyr, the boy felt the light evening wind grow stronger and stronger. Under a full moon, he sailed the Zephyr into the bay. He tried to remember everything the sailor had told him. He tried to feel the wind pulling his boat forward, lifting it up. Then suddenly, the boy felt the Zephyr begin to shake. The sound of the water rushing past the hull grew louder. The air filled with spray as the boat sliced through the waves. The boat began to lift. Higher and higher, the Zephyr rose out of the water, then finally broke free. The sound of rushing water stopped. There was only the sound of wind in the sails. The Zephyr was flying. Using the stars to guide him, the boy set a course for home. The wind blew very hard, churning the sea below. Churning the sea, what does that mean? Sorry?
Trying to see means the wind's blowing harder and it's trying to push you away.
Kind of. Churning the sea, Raymond.
Making waves.
Making waves, basically like mixing it up, making it not still. What's up, Cody?
I was getting another one, but
Oh, okay. But that did not matter to the Zephyr as she glided through the night sky. When clouds blocked the boy's view of the stars, he trimmed the sails and climbed higher. Surely the men of the island never dared fly so high. Now the boy was certain he was truly the greatest sailor of all. He steered well. Before the night was over, he saw the moonlit spire of the church at the edge of his village. As he drew closer to land, an idea took hold of him. He would sail over the village and ring the Zephyr's bell. Then everyone would see him and know that he was the greatest sailor. He flew over the treetop cliffs of the shore, but as he reached the church, the Zephyr began to fall. The wind had shifted. The boy pulled as hard as he could on the tiller, but it did no good. The wind shifted again. He steered for the open sea, but the trees at the cliff's edge stood between him and the water. At first there was just the rustle of leaves brushing the hull. Then the air was filled with the sound of breaking branches and ripping sails. The boat fell to the ground, and here she sits today. A remarkable tale, I said, as the old man stopped to relight his pipe. What happened to the boy? He broke his leg that night. Of course, no one believed his story about flying boats. It was easier for them to believe that he was lost in the storm and thrown up here by the waves. The old man laughed. No, sir. The boy never amounted to much. People thought he was crazy. He just took the odd jobs around the harbor. Most of the time he was out sailing, searching for that island and a new set of sails. A light breeze blew through the trees. The old man looked up. "Wind coming," he said. "I've got some sailing to do." He picked up a cane, and I watched as he moved slowly towards the harbor. So who was the old man? Adam?
The boy.
The boy. You're right. All right, so since we've been talking about sequence of events, we are going to sequence this story that we just read. Who can tell me what it means to sequence events? Emma?
To tell a story in the correct order.
Good, to tell a story in the correct order.
No.
What are signal words, Mercedes?
That describe the next step.
Good, describe the next step. I need 3 people to give me examples of signal words. Fernando.
First.
First. Michaela?
Next.
Next. Zach? Then. Good.
And last.
All right. We're going to signal this story into, let's say, 6 steps.
I want 7. I want 8. I want 10.
We don't have all day.
I want 9. I want 8.
All right.
Why you just do what she tells you?
Who can give me the first step in the story of the wreck of the Zephyr? Bella?
First, the little boy, he looked at the boat, was crashed.
First, the boy found a crashed boat. Crashed boat and man. We'll add man. And man. Xavier.
Second, he asked where is it going to?
Second what?
Second, he asked why is it going to?
Second, he asked questions. Can we say that?
Yeah.
He asked questions. All right. 3. Payment.
The old man told him a story
And
about the boat.
about the boat. Let's do. Can you tell me the first thing that happened in that story?
A boy was told a man that he was gonna go and sail.
Good. So the boy wanted to sail.
Yeah.
All right.
The highway.
Yeah. What signal word do you want to use? Then, in the story, the boy wanted to sail? In what?
The wind.
Wanted to sail in the wind.
To prove that he's the best sailor.
Alright. I think we got that. I keep forgetting my periods. You gotta tell me when I forget my periods.
I was about to say that.
Serenity? For 4?
Glass.
Should we use last if it's not our last step?
Final.
Should we use finally if it's not our last step?
No, I think step 4.
You can use step 4.
Step 4, they have said that the boat washed up on land
Well, the boat washed up on land, but how did the boat get there?
with the water. There were like mountains. The current.
Yeah, well, so we have for step 3, then in the story the boy wanted to sail in the wind. So you're right that the boat crashed, but I think that should be number 5. So what happened before? So we know that he wanted to sail, and we know in step 5 we can write then the boat crashed. So Serenity, what happens in step 4 though that connects the boy wanted to sail to the boat crashed?
Well, the old man said that there was a water, on the flat top of the water, and the boy listened, but then the old man started to walk towards the harbor.
Okay, Madden?
I don't even gotta do it.
Oh, we're gonna add to that. Do you know something for step 4, Raymond?
Step 4, the boy, the wave hit the boat really hard and then
Good.
he hit his head and woke up on the shore.
There was a storm, right? Step 4, there was a storm.
And the boy knocked out.
Okay, so now we have then the boat crashed, and we're gonna add to this a little bit. What happened after the boat crashed that kind of goes along with it? Who found the boy?
A couple of people from the harbor, and they came to help him, and then they towed the boat back and tied it up.
So, can we say then the boat crashed and he got help?
Sure.
Okay. And he got help. And what can we put for our last step? This is going to be a big step. Maybe we should put another one. Let's add another step down here. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
The man told him that the boy snuck out when it was dark and took the sails and put them on his boat.
Good.
And tried to fly him over
So, what signal word do you want to use? Let him come up with signal word. Do you remember what some signal words are?
Yeah, but they're all used again.
I see one that we haven't used. Starts with an N.
Now, or next.
Next, good.
I
Next, the boy sneaks out. Sneaks out to sail.
sneaks out and goes to the shop and sails.
Sneaks out to sail. All right, I have one more. Bella.
Finally, he flew over the waves
Good.
and he tried to go higher. He was over his church. He was gonna ring the bell, but the boat started to get lower,
And the boat crashed again.
and
Good.
the boat crashed.
He flew over the waves and then crashed again. Good. All right. So I'm going to underline my signal word. You tell me what it is. What's my signal word in step